Okay, so we have our players being added correctly, but we want to be able to share that information with every player who isn't the master client. So let's go back into our script. We're going to have our list players send function. And what this is going to do is it's basically going to package up all the players that are in our all players list and send that information piece by piece over the network. So let's go into, well, not piece by piece, it's going to send it all in one package, of course, but it'll be broken into lots of different pieces. So in here, we're first of all going to create a object array that again we'll call package. And we're going to set that to be equal to a new object array of length. Well, we wanted this object array to be however long our all players list is. So however many players are currently in our game. So new object all players dot count. So this is going to be our package. And then within that package, for each one of these objects, we're going to store within that another object array containing all the information that we have. So for int I equals 0, as long as I is less than all players dot count I plus plus. So we're basically just looping through all our players, and we're going to say we're going to create, similarly to how we did when we send one bit of information in our players, we created an object array called package and put all those pieces in there. Here instead we're going to say for each one of these players we're going to create another object array, and this time we're going to call it the piece. So each piece of the package is equal to a new object array of length 4, because we know we have 4 bits of information about each player. And then we're just going to say piece 0 equals from our all players at position I. So if we're at 0 or 1 or 2 from the all players list. So from all players at position I, get the name. And then just to make this easier, I'm going to copy all of this bit, and we're just going to say this time at piece 1 all players dot actor. Paste it again. This time piece 2 will be all players dot kills, and then finally piece at position 3 will be all players dot deaths. So this will store, or this will share all the this will store all the information about this particular player as a piece. And then, because we're looping through all the players and we know we have our package is the same length as all our players, we can say in here that package at position I is equal to whatever the piece is that we just created. So it'll be package 0 will be this piece, which is all players at position 0. Then if our I gets added on, if there's more players, it'll do package 1 will be the piece for player 1, package 2 will be the piece for all players 2, and so on and so on. So that's how we're going to package up our information to send. Then we need to send this over the network. So let's copy the piece we had up here just to make it simple. Paste it in there like that. Now obviously it is not a new player event this time. We're going to send a list players event, and then our receiver group is not going to be the master client, it's going to be all. So everybody is going to receive this. Okay, so that's our list players sending. Let's set up then our list players receiving, because we've gone through this process, we know how this works. So the first thing we're going to do is when we receive that information, so we know that it gets caught in our event up here and it will get sent down to us. What we're going to do is we're going to get from our all players list, we want to just we want to remove the information that we already have. So we're going to say all players dot clear, like so. So it'll remove all the information we currently have stored about the players, and then it's going to get all the data from our package that gets sent, and we're processing it as data received here. So what we'll do is for int I equals 0, while I is less than our data received dot length. So however much data, how many object array elements we received. And then I plus plus. So this will allow us to loop through that. And then what we're going to do is, much like we stored the object piece up here, in here we're going to create a object array called piece, and that's going to be equal to, we're going to pull out of our data received, so data received at position I. You should remember we have the error. Remember we had the error as well up here because we had to convert it into the correct data type. So down here we can convert this as an object array because each of our pieces was an object array. So we're pulling this piece of information out, and then we're going to say we've got a new player info called player. We're going to set that to be equal to a new player info, and we need to pass in our 4 variables. So let's just thumb this down so we can see a bit easier. We want to convert as a string piece at position 0. Then, oh no, I didn't mean to hit the semicolon. Then we want to convert as an int piece at position 1. Oh, I was meant to put a comma here. That's what I was meant to do. So int at piece 1, and then int as piece 2 and 3 as well. So let's just copy this to make it a bit easier. So this will be piece 2 and piece 3. So that's how we're going to decrypt the information. And then when we have that player, we'll add them to our list. So all players dot add the player, like so. And then we're going to do one extra check in here, because remember we talked about up here where we have the index to store. This is how we're going to store a reference to ourselves within this list, so we can make any changes quickly that we are doing ourselves to this list. So then down here we're going to say if photon network dot local player dot actor number, so if our actor number is equal to player dot actor, so is equal to the player that was just added to the list, well then that means that our index number should be equal to I, because we are the player that just got added to the list. So we're at position I in the list, we just got added to our all players. So this is how we can say our index will be whatever the all players value currently is. And there we go. That's it. That's how we can send and receive the full list of players. So that all works, but of course we need to actually make it happen at some point. So when we want this to happen is whenever the master receives information about a new player. So whenever a new player is received, we're going to call list of players send. So as soon as we receive one new player, we say, okay, update everybody else about how many players there are in the game. So we're going to save this. I'm going to go back and build and run the game. So we'll jump back to that in operation. Okay, so I've got this player here in the room. I'm going to start this game. So now we have, this person is the master client. Let's jump over to my player here, and I'm going to find that room. And now when we look in our list here, we should see on our match manager, there we go. We have 2 people in the match. We've got the master over here, and we've got me. And then I got another window here. I'm going to join this as P3. The other one is P2, yeah. Let's join this as P3. So now when this player joins, we should see, there we go, our list is updated. So now we have all 3 of these players in our all players list. And it's not just happening on the master client, it's now happening for everybody. So perfect. We're now able to have information very easily being stored between all the systems.